Hello again, and welcome to another chapter of 50 minerals that changed the course of history. Today we're looking at number 8, amber, which in Latin is Anbar, almost the same. The fossilized sap of prehistoric trees, amber, is a semi-precious gemstone of organic origin. It has a chemical formula of C10H16O. Traded along the Amber Road that linked the Baltic Sea with the Mediterranean world, amber has been a prized commodity since Neolithic times. That's the New Stone Age. That was right before the Bronze Age. Although much imitated and faked in the modern period, genuine amber is still popular as a decorative stone used in personal adornment, especially in Russia and the Baltic region that is right next to it. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. The next section is called Nature's Plastic. Before the invention of colored glass and plastics, amber would have appeared to be a miraculous, semi-magical material. Once polished, the most prized pieces have an attractive, translucent golden brown hue. And you can see that in the picture here. Translucent, so the light goes through, but not really the images. And you see that golden brown color. Here's another lump over here. It looks as rich and as smooth as honey. Less desirable pieces are an opaque brownish yellow. Amber is soft enough to be carved, and it can be reheated so it can be worked into different shapes. The fossilized sap of trees and ferns tens of millions of years old, amber sometimes has inclusions. Organic matter that was trapped in the sap as it set all those years ago. The most sought after are animal inclusions of insects and invertebrates, some long extinct. These not only have curiosity value, which is what gets us started, but they are of enormous scientific interest, as they preserve specimens in their entirety, rather than just the 2D of usual stone fossils. Now, unfortunately, these inclusions will not provide us with the means of restoring life to long extinct species of mammals and reptiles. Sorry, Jurassic Park will not happen. When amber is exposed to ultraviolet light, it fluoresces in different colors, including blue, yellow, red, and green, depending on its place of origin. Now, this is something we only discovered once we could create ultraviolet lamps, black lights. So this is a newer thing, not an ancient knowledge. A characteristic of amber from the Dominican Republic, down there on Hispaniola, is that when it is viewed under direct sunlight, it is an iridescent blue, hence its name blue amber. But when viewed against direct sunlight, as opposed to under direct sunlight, it is golden brown like Baltic amber. Now the color is not caused by pigmentation, chemicals that are floating around in there, but is a trick of the light as it passes through the material in different directions. Unfortunately, it is amber's similarity to artificial plastics and polymer resins that has proven to be its downfall in the modern world. Amber has not only lost its unique appearance, it's also very easy to fake with modern materials. The fakers have developed many tricks to fool the careless and the gullible. In addition to complete out-and-out fakes made of plastics and synthetic polymers, they pass off immature amber, known as copal, as the genuine article. Although copal is also solidified tree resin, it is of much more recent origin, sometimes only a few hundred years old, and its structure has not stabilized completely, meaning it is not as dense or strong as the genuine article. In addition, real amber can be heated, reworked. Several small fragments can be amalgamated into a larger piece. It can also be combined with copal to make a composite material. The fakers add plant and animal inclusions, passing off modern insects as their prehistoric ancestors in order to increase the value of the fakes. Gullible people with money are soon parted from it. The easiest and least destructive test to tell amber from plastic is to illuminate it with UV light to check whether it fluoresces. Just carry your blacklight flashlight around with you at all times. Section 2. The Lords of Amber. Now we owe the name amber to Arabic Anbar. The Arabs, however, confused amber with ambergris, which was a substance secreted by sperm whales and used in the perfume industry. Archaeologists estimate that the trade in what we call amber, along what is now the Amber Road from the Baltic to the Mediterranean, mentioned earlier, began 10 to 7,000 years before the present, so about 8 to 5,000 BC. Like the more famous Silk Road that linked China with the Mediterranean world, going east-west, the Amber Road was not really one road. It was a network of overland and river routes from northern Europe southward. And like the commodities traded on the Silk Road, amber wasn't carried by merchants all the way from the Baltic to Egypt. For example, where amber was found in the tomb of Tutankhamun, King Tut. And he was the king of Egypt, from 1341 to 1323 BC. No, it wouldn't have been carried by one merchant. It would have been traded between neighbors, both as a natural stone and as finished objects, and gradually it would have made its way south, in a complex web of commercial exchanges that brought the products of the Baltic to southern Europe and the Near East. And it would have brought goods from Egypt and the Levant, which is the eastern Mediterranean, up to Scandinavia and Russia. Many years later, in AD 1099, the forces of the First Crusade recaptured Jerusalem, the historical Holy Land, and its Christian sites, much of which is now in southern Turkey, Armenia, Lebanon, Syria, and Israel. They captured it from a divided Islamic world empire that was more concerned with its own internal power struggles than with stopping a small invading Western army. The shock of the fall of Jerusalem, which is the third holiest site in Islam after Mecca and Medina, galvanized the Muslim states to mount a counteroffensive. So the kingdoms of Outremer, however, managed to survive until the late 13th century, so almost 200 years. One of the legacies of the Crusades was the creation of several orders of knights, including the Knights Templar, the Knights Hospitaller, and the Teutonic Knights. All of whom had taken up the cross to recapture and defend the holy places. But it came to an end, and once they had been expelled from the Near East, those orders found new roles in Europe. Now some retained their mission to fight the westward spread of Islam, but others, such as the Teutonic Knights, established themselves in northern Europe, parts of which were still pagan even then. Like the Knights Templar, the well-disciplined and well-organized Teutonic Knights became so powerful they were able to challenge the authority of local rulers in order to establish their own empire. After the conversion of the last European pagans in the north of Europe in 1387, the Knights turned to expanding their political power and developing their commercial empire. Now, what does this have to do with amber? We're getting there. Until the early 15th century, they controlled the lucrative trade between the Baltic and southern and western Europe, and they called themselves the Lords of Amber, after one of the most valuable commodities they traded. As the developing national states of Poland and Lithuania became more established, though, they challenged the supremacy of the Teutonic Knights. Eventually, the Poles and the Lithuanians broke the power of the Knights at the Battle of Grunwald in 1410. The order, however, survived, without, having their own country, until the early 19th century when Emperor Napoleon I finally officially disbanded it, when he took over almost all of Europe except for Russia and Britain. And that is the end of that chapter. I hope that you can look into amber. It's one of the least expensive of the precious stones. In fact, that's why it's semi-precious. And I think you'll find, if you do more research, that we get electricity from electrum, which is from the Greek word for amber. If you squeeze amber just right, I believe, then it will release electric sparks, and so that also caused a lot of curiosity. And long story short, now we have electricity that helps run the world. Except when the electricity goes out. Thank you for listening. I hope that you have an excellent day and keep being interested in what is around us and how it has gotten us to where we are today, where it might take us into the future.